Alrighty, what's going on YouTube? My name is Sean McGrath and I am the owner and co-founder of SalesAccelerator.io. Wanted to bring you this quick Miro on explaining how to handle objections with remote sales. There are going to be 3 common objections that most people receive. Just want to make this quick video on going over those 3 in depth and detail. So just giving you a bird's eye view of what this presentation will be about. The 3 common objections, I shall say, that people receive when being on call is price, trust, and timing. So going to price is the first one to go over. There's a lot to kind of go over with this one. Generally, when people give you the objection of price, I always tell salespeople, especially newer ones, to challenge this and it's a hard one to challenge too, because if someone doesn't have the funds to purchase something and you're pushing them to really see if that's the case, it can be an awkward conversation. However, the reality is most people will generally lie, especially to a salesperson, because they don't trust salespeople. They don't want to give you the real information, or they don't want to be oversold, or so on and so forth. So when it comes down to talking to a salesperson, especially when it comes down to price, it's a really big thing that a lot of them are scared to do. Because a lot of times salespeople could be overly pushy. They can push in the wrong way, and they don't really understand how to counteract this objection. So the first things first is you kind of want to go into order here. Now you can kind of go into different order, but I generally would say that the first thing you want to do is acknowledge and clarify. You want to understand that price is a concern. Most people, especially when they get shocked with a big price, say it's 5 grand, 10 grand, even 100 grand, it's a big shock to most people. In fact, it's a big shock to me. If someone was trying to charge me 10 grand, 20 grand, or even 100 grand, it would definitely be a whoa factor to that. And I would want to know every little single detail about something before spending that certain amount of money. But me wanting to know every single detail doesn't necessarily mean that I don't have the money. It's just the easiest way to explain, like, I'm not interested because I don't know enough. Saying I don't have the funds is generally the first objection most people get. And with that objection, you acknowledge and clarify, and you reinforce value is the second thing that I believe you should be doing. Reason being is because, yes, obviously 10 grand is a lot of money. But if you reinforce value and show why something is worth 10 grand, you really get down to the brass tacks of, maybe this is actually worth paying 10 grand for. The reason why people either say I have to think about it, or the price is way too high, what they're really saying is the price is way too high for the value that you're selling me. For example, if I was to tell you I'm going to charge you 10 grand for consulting services and it's really going to help out your business. 10 grand sounds like a lot for consulting businesses. Now, if I reframe it and say, hey, I'm going to sell you 10 grand worth of consulting information that will guarantee you extra 100 grand of revenue throughout the entire year. And my entire coaching package is 10 grand, and it lasts an entire year. And throughout that year, I'm going to coach you to get from 0 to 100 grand, guaranteed. Well, now, obviously that's a very simplified version, but now it seems like, wow, I could pay 10 grand to make 100 grand by the end of this year. All I have to do is follow through steps. I can do that. Sure. Let me see the product. Now, of course, so on and so forth. There's more objections that come through with there, but reinforcing value and showing why you're worth way more than 10 grand is why people can sell packages like this in the first place. Value, 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 and offering perspective, offering other alternatives, seeing maybe 10 grand is too much for them, but maybe they have a banking credit line where they can get it from their businesses. Generally when you're selling people big ticket offers, they generally have a pretty big business already, or they could at least be on the up and coming. They could have 500 to $1 million in revenue in their company, and they could take out 10 grand out of that and use it as business expense and write off for consulting fees. It makes sense. It's something that so offering perspective and like saying that spending 10 grand for an extra 100 grand throughout the end of the year, that's a deal that anyone would do, especially a business owner. So exploring alternatives, maybe seeing if they could do lines of credit, maybe if they can talk to their bank and see if that's the real factor, or maybe again they have the money and it's just a way to kind of challenge them on the factor. I've had many people even tell me in my career that they didn't have the money. I would have to use credit lines. I don't know if you could use credit lines. And then 30 minutes into the conversation after addressing that, they would admit to me that, oh, you know what, I actually don't have to use a credit card. Here's my actual banking information. Just take the money. Again, a lot of people don't want to let you know how much money they have until they actually trust you, which actually, believe it or not, goes into my next topic, which is trust. So there's a lot of ways you could build trust, especially on closing calls or so on and so forth. That's generally the way that I like to explain it is the trust building call. It's the call to show you like, hey, we are legit. Hey, this is the product that we have, and hey, this is how much money we actually can make you. All these factors mixed into that, this is really how sales and deals are done. It really doesn't have to do with like shoving a sale down someone's throat or making them feel uncomfortable through a sales call to the point where they give you money. In theory, that works for really cheap products, but when it comes to business owners, that's something that you just wouldn't be able to do. That's more of kind of like a scamming type thing where it's like I'm going to sell you $20, like give me $20 right now, and you could push people to do that. It's really debatably impossible to push someone into 10 to 15 grand worth of a product without there really being a long conversation behind it. So building trust. One of the ways that you could do that is showing social proof, showing testimonials, showing client success stories, showing how, hey, people have gotten a lot of success. I'll even connect you to a person who has had a lot of success in our program to talk to you. These are really good ways you can build trust. And offer transparency. Be open about the process. Be open about why your price is the way that it is. Don't just say, "Oh, I'm selling it for 10 grand because, haha, high ticket sales." No, explain why you're charging someone 10 grand. 10 grand is a lot of money. And I'm talking from minimum end. I've been in processes where we're selling 30, 60 to even 100, and hell, I've even seen 120 or $250,000 for a yearly one-on-one coaching. I've seen that being sold. I know the process for that. It takes trust, time, and transparency. And obviously guarantees too. This is a really good one. Offer guarantees where it's like money back. That we'll do a trial period. I can understand that you don't trust this. There's a lot of scam programs out there. How about you come on for 30 days? You could use a credit card, and the reason why you could use a credit card is say in 30 days, like you think that I'm going to be a person who doesn't give you a money back guarantee, you can call the bank, say my company's a scam, and they'll take the money from me. Like you could there's ways to build trust and showing like, hey, no, listen, I actually am really not trying to take your money here. I'm really trying to help you. Especially in sales processes, I'm telling you, people do not trust people, and in all honesty, they shouldn't. There's a lot of bad actors out there. There's a lot of people who are not professional. There's a lot of people who are silver-tongued, and there's a lot of people who could take your money and then never speak to you again. It's really good to be skeptical, especially when it comes down to big business deals. You shouldn't be, upset when people are like, oh, they don't trust me. They don't do this. Like, no, you should probably look at your own process. What are you doing on these calls that are not getting them to trust you? You got to be really, really self-critical, especially as a salesperson. So it's really, really important. And then the third one, which is, sometimes could be a really unfortunate one because sometimes there's no way you could oversell it or outsell it. This could just kind of be more of like a follow-up thing. Sometimes it could be the right product, the perfect product for somebody, and they definitely need it, and timing could be a really big issue. But you also got to fight that a little bit too. Sometimes if people say like, "Hey, this is really great, but like my mother's in the hospital, this and that," now that's an extreme case. If someone's like that, probably the deal won't go through. But if it's something actually, but again, he could be lying, or again, it could be a certain situation where where it's like that timing isn't right. Next month will be the better month to do this. And then after breaking down, it's not next month that would be a better time to do this. It would be right now. So sometimes you really just got to ask and probe and uncover real reasons of why they don't want to do this. And then when you uncover the real reason, it might not actually be timing. It could literally be a trust issue, or it could be a price issue, but they scoped it up as a timing issue, saying it's not the right time. I need to talk to my wife. I need to talk to my partner. I need to figure that out before I could even do that. Now, the thing that all these three things have in common is that they could all coincide with each other. Meaning, a person could say, like, hey, you know what, at the end of the day, I just don't trust you. I don't want to purchase your product. And then after digging and acknowledging and being transparent and going through, then it could actually be the fact that it's not a trust issue. you dug and found out that it's a price issue. And now you have to go through, your price objections and go through all the price things and really say like, and you figure it out and like really show how you can, sell that. And then through that factor, you might even go throughout the call and then it's like, oh, it actually really wasn't a price issue. When you really dug deeper, it actually was a timing issue. Turns out that like he's getting married this week or she's getting married this week, and they kind of wanted to get through the season before then, and they just didn't feel like sharing that information because they thought it was kind of awkward or weird or it just didn't sound right. Again, people are very weird when it comes to salespeople. They don't trust us, so you kind of gotta break them down and get them to be so honest that they have to forcibly tell you the truth. And then when they tell you the truth, and then you can find out, and then you can kind of go accordingly. Because, like I said, they could say it's a timing issue, but then really it turned out to be a price issue, and then you sell them on the price issue. Or they said it was a price issue, but then it really turned out it was a trust issue. You show them reasons to trust you, and then they purchase. These are three major things to kind of go over and to kind of always have objection handling in these three topics and figuring out all the objections that you do get in these three processes or these three topics to really find out how you're actually going to sell someone. Because if you break these down and you actually figure them out and you actually understand from your company standpoint, whether you're selling life coaching, whether you're selling physical coaching, whether you're selling business consulting, sales, ads, whatever it may be, it's really important to understand the objections you get in each and every one of these objections, like the deeper objections in each of these objections, if that makes any sense. Now, it's good to create urgency, offer flexibility, and to empathize and follow up. So, with timing specifically, kind of just going back into my last point on timing, it's a little bit tougher because sometimes this could be very true. And if it is a timing issue, you don't want to push super, super hard. You, of course, want to uncover and try to figure out, but it's the same thing with each and any one of these. Like, you really just kind of want to uncover things. And you don't want to uncover too much, and you want to be kind of flexible on certain things, and you want to empathize and follow up if push comes to shove, it actually is a timing thing and they can't do it, so on and so forth. No worries. Make sure you just religiously follow up and that you stay on top of these people. I know follow up can sometimes be annoying because it's like if they didn't do the deal right then and there, we sometimes as salespeople we feel like if they didn't do the deal right then and there, then there's no point following up because we're just wasting our time. When the reality is, you'll be surprised. You keep following up, they actually might have been telling the truth about timing, and then you follow up in that next month, or you follow up throughout the entire month, keep dripping them content, keep in contact with them, and then when the next month comes around and they say like, oh, this was the month that it was good, then they purchase because you just kept on top of them. This was the product that they wanted to use, they just didn't have the right time. So it's very important to know those things and like how to deal with those situations. Now, the one problem that I have with the sales industry, and it's probably my biggest problem, is that I feel as though a lot of people who create content or try to sell online have never done it before. Maybe they sold cars in the past and now they think that selling online is the same thing, so they transition, or they've just sold real estate and now they think that they could sell every type of factor of sales. Me personally, as a person who's not only sold online, not only been in the car industry, not only sold through the phone, not only through like the coaching industry, but also through major corporations, and learning corporation processes that for companies that people really want to work for out of college. I did it without a degree just because I built up a whole bunch of experience. There's many different ways to sell in many different avenues. When it comes down to remote selling, I feel as though a lot of people try to teach it in a way that is not fully correct. It's like 95% correct, but there's a 5% that they always miss when it comes to selling online. And this is a big thing that I have specialized in. That's why I created salesaccelerator.io. I couldn't even say it correctly. But I created this process and program in this community because I really think a lot of people have it wrong in this industry. And I truly believe that my information on this is more top notch than most. And I kind of wanted to compete because I truly believe that my information is good, that this community really will help you get that next role. And not only that next role in the setter and closing industry, but a better role than most. And that's a big thing that I also teach into this program. I really think that a lot of people It's not their sales ability that holds them back from getting the right job or the right course to work for. It's really just the opportunity. A lot of these big course guys, they don't want to just hire some person who went to a closer school. They want to see different things. They want to see experience. They want to see professionalism. And a lot of people in this industry don't know how to teach professionalism. That's where I come in. So, you know, if you really want to kind of increase your sales, if you really want to be better at handling objections, and if you really want ideas and strategies on how to get the right type of jobs in this industry, I fully recommend that you look into my school community. There's a link down below. Again, thank you for watching this video in full. I hope you got a lot of value from it, and I'll hopefully see you in my community. Take care now.